Good day and a very warm welcome to our webinar on Certified Agile Business Analysis, or the Agile Business Analysis How-To. We're just going to give the last couple of people a second or two to join us before we really go into the content. And in that meantime, we will give you a little bit of background about the people presenting today and a couple of ground rules for the webinar. First of all, the people presenting today. Now you're listening to myself. My name is Frank Frambach. I'm a managing director for iSQI out of the Netherlands. And our presenter today will be Hans van Loenhoud, who has a long-standing reputation in IT, in software testing, business analysis, and other areas, of which he can tell you much more in a moment. And Hans has been so kind to host the webinar today with us to show you and tell you more about Agile business analysis. Before we go into the content, a quick look at who we are as the host, iSQI, for those who may not know us yet. iSQI stands for International Software Quality Institute. As you can see by the map down below, we are a global organization, and we work with certification bodies and software testing bodies around the world. For the offices that we occupy, we are located in Germany, the Netherlands, the UK, and the USA, but as you can see across the world, we cover more regions just than where our physical offices are located. We focus on software testing, quality, and business value, and what you see nowadays is that these areas are coming very closely together because the link between IT and business obviously has become so close, especially with things like Scrum, Agile, DevOps, and all those new things happening over the last couple of years. Therefore, you will also see that iSQI has a very extensive portfolio, also covering these areas. Just a couple of numbers to give you an indication of who we are. Yearly, about 30,000 professionals certify themselves through us. We have a global network of training providers, globally around 250. And because of the very high-level quality way that we conduct exams, we send our own proctors to the exam location. Because we do this worldwide, we have about 500 examiners. Some call it proctors, some call them invigilators around the world. And we have different ways that we can do the certification for you. Paper-based is obviously traditionally the normal way that people take an exam. We also have smart exams, which is we call SMEX, which is the paper exam that when delivered in an electronic way. Flex is a remote proctored exam. Not allowed for all exams, but for some it is. And what is very convenient is that we work with Pearson VUE, offering test centers around the world in very many locations. So therefore, candidates can plan and schedule their test close to home in a time that is convenient for them. As I said, we're global, meaning that we certify people in over 100 countries. And we work with a number of certification bodies through whom we offer exams. iSQI is maybe the best known in this space, but there are others you can think of, for instance, TMMI or DASA for DevOps, and the list is quite long. And as I said, it's about 50 of those organizations that we work with. Hans, can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you very much. That was a little bit about iSQI, who we are. Before we go into the depth with Hans, maybe you can go back. Yeah, thank you. I would like to look at the operational side of the session. First of all the people attending will be on mute. That is simply to make the webinar easier to listen to, because we don't want to have everybody asking questions through each other. But of course, we can understand that you maybe have a question, and for that you have a questions box on the right-hand side of your screen. Please feel free to enter your questions there, and obviously we would be very happy to answer these at the end of the session. We'll be monitoring these questions as they come in throughout the session. That means that also if you have a technical problem, please also feel free to put the technical questions in there so that we have people standing by who can help you right out there. Finally, the duration of the presentation is about 30 minutes, including the questions at the end. So we try to keep it concise as to not take too much of your time, but in the meantime, trying to make it as clear and as valuable as possible for your time. The session is recorded, which means that you'll be able to see it later on if you need to you can visit it. We will share the link to the recording later on with you. So that's enough about the introduction and about the way that everything will work today. I'd like to hand over to Hans, who's going to tell you everything about business analysis and the value of the business analysis for your new organization. So it's all yours, Hans. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frank. Can you hear me all? Everything okay? Okay,
yeah,
let's start then. Well, I'm glad to be here with you today. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Hans van Loenhoud. I've been working in IT for already a very long time, and almost half of it in software testing, and the last years in requirements engineering. And during the last years, I'm mainly working as a trainer for courses on business analysis, requirements engineering, and software testing. And I'm a member of the International Requirements Engineering Board. So that's enough for you to know about me, I think. And let's focus on the topic of today. Today, I'm going to tell you something about the CABA training, the Certified Agile Business Analysis training. And we'll start with a look at why is this important? Why should we look at analysis in Agile environments, in Agile contexts? Well, I have been long in IT, of course, as I told you, and for many, many years, we developed IT systems in a waterfall way, in a traditional sequential way of working. Starting with the analysis of the needs of the customer, then designing a system, building it, testing it, deploying it, and then started the period in which it was used by the business. Well, for the, maybe 10 years, 15 years, 5 years, it depends on your organization, everything has changed dramatically. Of course, we went to Agile. In Agile, we rearranged all these steps in an iterative way, in which we develop systems incremental, step by step. And the interesting part of this is that now the analysis phase has spread out over all of the rest of the phases. It's no longer a single step in the first part of a project. Now analysis is spread out from the beginning of a project to the very end until we start using it. And when we first started with Agile, we thought, well, analysis is something that's not part of the Agile team to do so. We assigned a person that we named product owner, and the product owner was responsible for everything that related to the needs of the customer, of the needs of the business. So the product owner was a kind of Superman who should do everything about analysis. And well, let's look at this product owner. He's usually somebody who's coming from business and has a management role there, but is temporarily made free for an IT project, and it should be fully assigned to this project. The role of the product owner is to represent the business, and not only his own department where he came from, but the whole business. So the product owner should know all ins and outs of all stakeholders involved. And that he's selected for this role because he's an expert in his own profession, in his business. But he should also know everything about IT, about design, programming, testing, operations, maintenance, because the product owner, well, is what it is, the owner of the future product that the Agile team is to develop. And that's why the product owner should also know everything about the Agile way of working. And that means that he should be an expert on analysis, because he's responsible of capturing the needs of the business, what we call the product backlog. That's the list of things that the Agile team should develop. Well, if you look at this list of things that we expect from a product owner, my personal reaction is always, do you believe in fairy tales? This kind of people, well, these kind of superheroes usually don't exist. And that's why we need to take a closer look at the analysis phase of a project, or whatever. It's not a phase anymore, it's a role, it's an activity that's done during the complete project. Because analysis is important. It's the starting point for each IT development. You should know what your users need before you can start thinking about it, designing it, building it, testing it. And in Agile projects, we usually formulate these needs as in a way that says who needs what for which end. And the formulation, the template that we use for it is, in my role as a certain function, I want some functionality to realize a certain goal. And that's what we call a user story. And describing a simple user story, it's quite straightforward. It's quite simple. Everybody should be able to do it if you know the business. But if we come to oversee a complete product backlog with all user stories and keep it consistent throughout the project, that's quite a tough business. Because we have to deal with different levels of detail, high-level themes and features that should be incorporated in the system, epics and stories that should be realized, tasks that are related to the stories, acceptance criteria that have to be fulfilled. And we have different ways of expressing it. We have the vision of the project, the scope which we operate in, the goals that have to be accomplished, some functional requirements, some non-functional requirements, things about quality, some things about constraints. That's all captured in this product backlog. And you cannot expect from somebody who is expert in a business to be also expert in this kind of things. So you need its expertise. This is a professional role that should be fulfilled in an Agile team. And one of the powerful things of Agile is that we say that we follow a whole team approach. It's not a single specialization that somebody in an Agile team fulfills. It must be expert on his own expertise, but also do things that are related to other expertises. And that's what we call the T-shaped profile. An Agile team member must know in depth something about his own role, and in the broadness something about other roles. And as we have seen that analysis is spread out through every step in an Agile project, all team members have to know what analysis is about, have to have a certain background in analysis. So the how-to of analysis is very important for all Agile team members. And that means that we have a need for certain educational expertise on this role. And that's where the CABA training comes in. The CABA training, the Certified Agile Business Analysis, is a training on the expertise that you need to do something on business analysis in an Agile context. It's developed by iSQI, the special interest group Agile Teaming, and it's based on a book of the International Institute of Business Analysis, IIBA, which published in 2013 Agile Extension to the Babel Guide. CABA is a 2-day course, and it is kept with an exam of 40 questions that one should accomplish in 1 hour. And if you score more than 65%, then you pass it. The outcomes of the course are mentioned here in this list. if you have followed this course and successfully completed it, you are able to participate in an Agile team developing software, and you know what analysis, business analysis is about over there. So you're able to know what a business analysis role should do, and you understand how it works, know the techniques, and can use them. So you will be able to add value to this Agile project, and you know the importance of improving it. So let's look at in more detail to the contents of CABA, and I'll show you the different chapters and give you some examples of what is in it. CABA tells you something about the theory on an introductory level. It shows you some mock exam questions to prepare you to the exam, and it contains some exercises to do it in practice, to make it alive. So let's look into the topics in some more detail. First of all, it starts with the question, what in fact is business analysis? And it tells you about the subject matter and the role of the business analyst, the scope of it, and the company's competencies that you should acquire when you fulfill this role of business analyst. And one of the interesting things that the CABA training tells you is that there's a scope in business analysis that is depending on your seniority as a business analyst, and it's related to the impact that your activities have on the organization. On the lowest level, we talk about system improvements, and that's where mainly requirements elicitation, analysis, management, etc. comes in. One step higher, you need more seniority, but you also have a higher impact. It's about process improvement. It's about process modeling, redesign, implementation, that kind of things. And the highest level that you work can do as a business analyst is enterprise improvement. That's about strategy, it's about objectives, it's about value. And if you look at the CABA training, it covers all, but it concentrates on this middle level. Process modeling, process analysis, does something about value, it tells you something about requirements engineering, but this is all about the position of the CABA training related to the work of the business analyst. Well, of course, it's a course on business analysis in Agile contexts, so we also pay attention to Agile itself. The traditional software development lifecycle, the Agile manifesto, the Agile principles, and one of the interesting things that are mentioned in this course is the idea of Agile against the variations that occur in a project. In Agile, we try to have three things fixed: the schedule, the costs, and the quality. And as variations occur, it means that the scope is variable. And everything with what we do is, first of all, keep time, cost, and quality fixed, and discuss about with the client, with the business, through the product owner, what scope we are trying to accomplish. The next chapter is about Agile approaches, and it tells you about some common approaches like Kanban, Lean, Scrum, Extreme Programming, the roles that you fulfill in an Agile team, and especially what business analysis means in an Agile team. And one of the things that was very useful for me when I first studied CABA is that they give you an overview of a generic Agile process. Starting from a backlog, elaborating it in a define phase, building it in a code phase, testing it in an evaluation phase, and then if it passes, accepting it by the business. If it fails, go another cycle. It's a very clear way to capture all different flavors of Agile in a single generic process. But of course, the kernel of CABA is the set of BI techniques in Agile projects. And we look at the BABAC, the standard encyclopedia on business analysis techniques from IIBA, and look into the Agile extension, how to apply it in Agile. And the main part of it is the framework. And CABA discerns two frameworks, the discovery framework and the delivery framework. The discovery framework is more on the finding out what the customers really need. The delivery framework is more about the translation for that as an input for an Agile team to develop it. And one other interesting thing about CABA is that it looks at the planning levels for an Agile project, and it says, well, it starts from a very strategic base and goes up to daily planning in a Scrum session. And well, every step in this planning level has certain focus points. And if you look at the who is involved in it, then you see that the Agile development team is mainly involved from the release level upwards, and it's mainly concentrating on the iterations within a release and the day-to-day planning about what did we do yesterday, what we are going to do today. If you have a business analysis role in an Agile team, you also have to look at the lower levels, at the base levels, the strategic level, the portfolio level, the product level. And if we look how CABA is positioned against these levels, then we see that the CABA training tries to cover the strategic level up to the lowest parts of the iteration level, but it concentrates on portfolio product release levels. If you then look at the discovery framework, we have these major chapters: see the whole, think as a customer, and determine what is of value. See the whole puts this Agile generic Agile process into the organization. Tries to adjust the Agile process to the objectives and the strategy of the organization in relation to the external environment. It invites you to look broader than whatever you're developing as an Agile team. It also must fit in the organization in the outside world. And CABA concentrates on the organization objectives and strategy and the relation with the external environment. And if you, for instance, look at think as a customer, which is part of the discovery framework, then we try to show you the technique of personas, making your customers living personas, that you try to understand what their needs, their goals are. So it focuses the empathy of the business analyst, if you're fulfilling this role, on what do your customers really need. In determine what is of value, we look at the canoe theory. Canoe is a Japanese professor, and he discovered that needs of customers or features of systems can be discerned in 3 different kind of factors. The basic factors are factors that if they are there, if they are fully achieved, customers won't notice because, well, they think it's normal. If they're not there, customers are very dissatisfied. The performance factors are factors that customers, well, ask for. These are the explicit needs. And there might also be what Canoe calls excitement factors. If they are there, they give high satisfaction to the customer. If they are not there, the customer won't miss them because they don't know that they exist. Let's take a similar look at the delivery framework. Get real with examples, understand what's doable, something about improvement and about waste. Get real with examples focuses on business, on behavior-driven development, telling that user stories can be evaluated through scenarios, and with the given, when, then template to evaluate it. And business-driven development tells you that you should first think about the scenarios, then develop test cases to evaluate these scenarios, and then start developing your code. Understand what's doable focuses on the Agile project phase, the Agile planning phase, and tells you that the larger the chunks of work that you want to do, the more uncertainty there is about estimating. In continuous improvement, we show you a simple technique about what could you do, and evaluating improvement initiatives in how beneficial would it be, and is it doable, and tells you if it's not doable, if it's not beneficial, you really should reject it, and if it's doable and it gives you much benefit, do it, and there are two other alternatives that you should consider. Avoid waste is about lightweight documentation. Don't document things that you won't use afterwards, or if you can't rationalize why other people should be interested in these documents. And that's where I would like to finish my talk. I have given you a quick overview of the Certified Agile Business Analysis training, and I hope I have been able to inspire you to take a closer look at it, and maybe to I can welcome you at one of our courses. Thank you very much. I would like to conclude with this slide. Analysis is important for it's the important success factor for every Agile project, and it's too important to leave it to the single responsibility of the project owner. Everybody functioning in an Agile project should know about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hans. That was very clear. Maybe we can now go to the questions. Let's see. I have received a couple of questions. Maybe let's see the first question. 1 second, just opening it up. The first question was about the difference or the similarity between the CABA course and the traditional business analysis courses. Is there a difference? Is there a similarity? How do you see that?
Well, in fact, there's no difference. It's still the valuable techniques that are practiced in business analysis over the years. But the CABA training focuses it on how to apply it in an agile way. Of course, traditional analysis techniques tended to be very thorough, very deep, and take a lot of time and take a lot of effort. The same techniques can be applied in an agile situation in a lightweight version that still deliver value, deliver direction for a project, but do not suffer from the burden that the traditional application of these techniques would bring to a project.
Wonderful. Another question that came in, and just reminding attendees that you still have a last moment to enter a question should you have one. Before we go to this question, the next one is, once I've done the CABA course, and am I then a fully trained and knowledgeable business analyst? Do I know everything I need to know?
Yeah, well, that would be wonderful, but I'm sorry, well, that won't work. A CABA training is an introduction. It's a 2 days introduction, and well, business analysis is a profession. You need years to study it. But the CABA training gives you a direction. You know where to look. You know what's important for a business analysis. And well, if you're interested, you're captured with this subject, and you want to go into detail, there are many interesting courses to follow from the IIBA on the BABOK, or from IREP on requirements engineering. And the most important thing is you have to gain practice. Do it day by day in your projects, and then you'll learn. And well, the trainings can give you a direction, give you some techniques, but at the end you'll have to do it by yourself and become more successful analyst day by day. And that's why CABA focuses and concentrates on continuous improvement. This could be a starting point.
Wonderful. Thanks very much for that answer too. Looking at the time, we've just gone over 30 minutes, and as we said at the beginning, our aim was to stay around the 30 minutes. There are no new questions coming in at this moment, so for now I would like to thank all the attendees. Maybe you can proceed to the slide with our contact details, Hans?
Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Here it is.
Yeah, so here it is. So people who want to stay in touch with us, these are our contact details. You can reach us here. Also, you can go to the iSQI website or contact us through our social media. Feel free in any which way if you have questions. And obviously questions for Hans, we will refer back to Hans for that. And for now, I would like to thank you very much for your attention and hope to see you on the next webinar coming up soon. One of them will be in June on test-driven development, for instance. For now, thank you very much and goodbye.